Welcome to Caesar's Pixel Imperium. I am your host, Hulk Caesar. Joining us tonight to take a trip down memory lane with a classic Super Nintendo game. It's a man who hardly needs introduction around these parts. He's a regular guest and a performer on the Hulk Caesar Show, and he's out there every week tearing up stages with Midnight Watch, Rugged Shores, and giving it his all as a solo artist. Welcome back, our good friend, Evan AuCoin.
How's it going?
Good, my friend. Evan, you had the all-important task of choosing tonight's game. What did you go with, and what made you pick it?
I went with a classic Earthworm Jim. I picked it because I'll be honest. When you first reached out, I just Googled like every SNES game, and I was going back through. It was like a little trip down memory lane. But I was obsessed with the Earthworm Jim cartoon as a kid.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I loved the game too. So I was just like, I've got to play that. It's like it's literally been since I was a child since I played this. So it's gonna be awful, but it's gonna be awesome at the same time.
Amazing. All right,
Yeah.
You can give her a start there and start. I don't think I ever played this game. You know, I had a Super Nintendo, of course, but we were always at the mercy of whatever's at the rental store.
Of course, yeah.
Right. So
we had one gas station when I was really young that I'm already dead. One gas station was really young that rented games, but it was short-lived. I think it was only open from when I was like 7 till when I was 8 or 9 or something like that. Like, it wasn't very long, and then we just had a movie rental spot. So we were at the mercy of whatever we could get up to find in Carbonear. We could drive like an hour to buy.
yeah, that's right. Because you grew up in Carbonear, right?
Grew up in Bay de Verde.
Bay de
so I grew up
Verde.
outside of Carbonear. Yeah,
Yeah.
about an hour away from Carbonear, we'll say.
Bay de Verde. I grew up in Old Perlican, so
Right, yeah.
not far away.
Yeah, you're just right there. I feel like I did.
I was a little bit older. When I was 10, I moved out of Old Perlican. So when I was younger, I lived there.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
But yeah, we used to. My dad, I've told this story before. My dad went all in on Beta, so he didn't get a VHS till really late. So he'd drive us all the way down to Dildo from Whitburn because they rented Betas down there.
Unreal.
So those guys had really good Nintendo games too, right? So you mentioned the Earthworm Jim cartoon. Now, I wasn't familiar with that either. Did you watch how old were you when you watched that? Do you think?
I was probably like, I want to say it was like 6 or 7 maybe. So like 90, 95, 96, 97, that kind of thing, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
But it was, I remember none of the plot other than the fact that he was an earthworm that inexplicably was a space ranger as well. But I do remember the theme song word for word. Earthworm Jim, he rockets through the sky. Earthworm Jim, he's such a crazy guy. It's great. Because that's how my brain works.
I know, right? I still remember the Mike Tyson code 007-373-5963. Take you right to Tyson.
That's unreal.
I had memorized it in a magazine one day. I saw it and I had to memorize it, or
like there was no taking a photo of something on your phone or anything. You just had to know things.
right? As a child, children don't carry pens.
No, I remember my buddy in school had all the cheat codes for. It must have been like one of the first Grand Theft Auto games or something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember we all sat down one day at lunch and copied it out.
Yeah.
So each of us had this like crinkled piece of loose leaf that had up, down, left, right, and like all that. It was just the stuff that you used to have to do before there was game guides and stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
I feel so spoiled playing games now. 'Cause it's like it was so. I hate to sound like that guy, but it was so much harder.
we figured out the code in Back to the Future 2 and 3 to go right to 3.
Oh,
it was
wild.
flux capacitor is the answer or something. I forget what it was, but we traded to a guy for a box of hockey cards.
That's great currency back in the day.
It's good.
Yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Pokemon cards, hockey cards, any kind of trading card you can use as currency.
It was Super Nintendo your first system?
I think technically I didn't actually have a Super Nintendo. My buddy did, so we'd go over to his house after school. We'd play. I think my first system was N64.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Because remember my cousins had one, and my brother and I were obsessed with Super Mario 64. And then eventually we convinced our parents to get us a Nintendo 64. We convinced our parents that video games weren't going to destroy our brains.
How proud you were.
Yeah, literally I say that as Earthworm Jim is getting his head eaten by a crow. So it's at least destroying Earthworm Jim's brain. But so once we finally convinced them of that, then we managed to get the N64, and I became obsessed with a lesser-known game called Jet Force Gemini.
Ooh, Jet Force. It was a Ski-Doo game, was it? Or
No. So that was Jet Racer.
Oh, okay.
Jet Force Gemini was a space-based game. Essentially, it starts off on a spaceship that's under attack, similar to A New Hope or something like that. And there's a brother and sister and their dog, and they're all in combat gear. And essentially, they all take the escape pods and end up on different planets, and they have to get together and defeat the evil emperor. So you play as each of them throughout the game, and eventually they all come together in order to defeat the final boss. But you have to get them all to the last planet before you can play the final boss.
I don't think I've ever heard of that game before.
It's nobody else has, and if it wasn't for the fact that I've owned 4 copies of it in my life, I'd assume it was just some kind of childhood fever dream.
Are you a collector? Do you like to collect stuff at all, or?
Yeah, I do. I used to collect video games a fair bit. I had like a bunch of systems, that kind of stuff, and in my old job, my last job, I had no time for gaming and that kind of stuff. So I just kind of sold it all off as things went on. I do have a PS5, and I do play. I'm a big Skyrim and that kind of stuff. I'm a big fan of that, like Assassin's Creed, those sorts of games. So I've been playing but I'm on a Skyrim kick right now. I'm playing the Oblivion remaster, and then it was like a couple things I was reading. I was like, oh, I've never done that quest in Skyrim. So I opened up I have just like a playthrough that's always going in Skyrim, and I was like, yeah, here we go.
I had a good playthrough going on Skyrim on PC, and I had so many mods going. And then when I switched computers, my mod list was all out of order, and I didn't know where I got half the mods, and it all fell apart.
Yeah, I've never been a PC guy, so I've never really played monitoring like that. Like, I've got the Creation Club stuff in the Anniversary Edition for the PS5.
Yeah,
which is pretty handy because you get a whole bunch of cool like new stuff, armor-wise and that kind of thing. But I've never. I'm on a lot of video game forums on Facebook because my life is very full and meaningful.
Yeah.
So I see some of the stuff people get into, and it's like, man, this is insane. It's a different game.
Yeah.
It's not Skyrim anymore.
I remember we were talking about this the other day, how because the Oblivion remake came out, how when Oblivion first came out and they put the horse armor on sale for $1.99 and people lost their minds. Like, you're going to sell us something in a video game when we've already bought the video game, and now you want to make us pay $2 for horse armor? Like, people lost their minds.
And now people are paying hundreds of dollars a year for Candy Crush.
And like people said, well, this like now it's like that's how it's going to start, and they were like, oh no, it's just it's for a celebration, just a bit of horse armor for fun.
No, you started something that.
Now it's like average to buy the base game and then buy things on top of it.
It's just all deal. Like I have every Skyrim DLC. I've had that for multiple games now. Like it's just par for the course. You spend your $80 on your game, then you spend another like $100 in add-ons over the course of several years.
Right? Crazy.
As opposed to just waiting for them to release a new game.
Yeah, like this game came out and then that was it. Good or bad, there was no change in it. No. It was out, and they weren't printing it again. So
no, there was nothing. It was just you made. I said this to my wife the other day. I was like, it was great about games because everyone was using essentially the same game engine. They just changed what the graphics looked like and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so. So you could pump out games like crazy. Now you have to wait 10 years for a game to come out, and 10 years later, it's not good.
Yeah, right? Or the opposite, a game comes out and it's not good. Yeah. And then they spend years and years and years working on like No Man's Sky, for example, which became an excellent game in the end, right? But like, I didn't buy it now. I bought it 10 years ago.
Yeah. It's funny how that, like, some of those that were just super glitchy that are now unreal, right? But it's funny how all that works.
No, try to explain to me who Earthworm Jim is and what he's doing in this game.
You know what? I'll be fully honest with you. I forget everything about Earthworm Jim. The fact that he was some sort of an entity that fought crime in space, and inexplicably he is a super jacked body with a tiny earthworm head.
Now you're speaking of super jacked. You're a bit of a bodybuilder, weightlifter yourself, right?
I do strongman.
They're different, I guess.
So if I was a bodybuilder, I'd be a very bad bodybuilder. People would be like, "Really? That's what you're doing?" I'd be like a bodybuilder from Temu. No, so I'm a strongman, which is essentially what you see like World's Strongest Man on television, that kind of stuff.
Like Mark Henry.
Yeah, Mark Henry. Mark Henry is a really good example of that. Mark Henry started off as an Olympic lifter and became a strongman competitor. But he's actually the first guy to win the Arnold. So Arnold Schwarzenegger has this massive sports festival every year, and they have, as part of the Arnold Sports Festival, one of the 4 main strongman competitions in the run of a year, one of the main pro ones, and Mark Henry was the first winner of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so the inaugural strongman, and he's like still considered to be insanely strong based on just his background, his lifts and that kind of stuff. The dude was crazy.
Didn't he have some sort of record for something? Or because in wrestling, I don't know what's true. I tell you.
He did have a handful of them. It is funny, actually, because I still am, but I grew up a huge wrestling fan. And
me too.
My dad and I kind of, like, I got into strongman with my dad when we were watching. It was just on TSN when it was on. We'd always watch it. And I remember they always would talk about Mark Henry's World's Strongest Man. I was like, is that real? I just got into strongman and finally I was like, oh, it actually is real. He was like,
he looked pretty strong.
He was insanely strong. He did hold a couple. I think he held a couple of overhead records or something on those lines. But he was for what he was insane. And like he was strong in multiple disciplines. Like he was strong across Olympic lifting, powerlifting, strongman. Like he was just a strong dude.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So kind of what goes into that?
There's a lot. So strongman, I started off as a power lifter. So powerlifting, it's essentially three lifts. You do squat, bench, deadlift. From a competitive side of things, if you're competing, you're doing 3 attempts at each lift, and your cumulative total of your 3 best lifts is how you.
I'll say so. Commodore 64 basic summer game rules.
Yeah, similar kind of an idea. So
up, then down, then up again.
Yes, yeah, and then your heaviest squat, your heaviest bench, and your heaviest deadlift are what's counted as your total, and that's where you get your ranking. So I was doing that I started off that for a little while. I was a very unhealthy individual for a long time. I was over 400 pounds at one point in my life, at my heaviest, and I had to make some changes and started just kind of walking and exercising.
How long ago was that?
This was 7, 8 years ago now.
Yeah.
So my partner at the time had started doing powerlifting, and I had lost about 20 pounds on my own, just walking, eating better, and was like, I should get back to. I'd been a regular gym goer for a long time, and had a workplace injury, and it just kind of got afraid of it, and finally was like, okay, I should go back and take care of myself, kind of thing. And so started doing the powerlifting thing with Tom Keane and Steph Keane, his wife at Reps Fitness, and then did that for a couple of years. Did a couple contests, had a couple of I get a gold medal, but I won by default.
My two best words in English dictionary language.
Win by default. But I didn't. I don't talk about the gold medal very often because I didn't beat anybody. But I did have a silver from a local contest as well, where there was a couple guys in the.
You wouldn't get me to shut up. I'd be like, I bet the gold medal whenever I go.
Yeah,
people would be like, who'd you beat for that? I'd be like, you don't even want to know who I beat for this.
Oh man, they don't even want to be named. They said no, don't tell anyone about me. You beat me so bad. He said you beat me so bad. I wish you hadn't beat me so bad. But yeah, so and then in the just over the course of training that, an opportunity came up. A class was opened up for strongman at a gym in Paradise, and I'd watched strongman religiously as a kid. My dad and I had always been interested in it, and I was like, well, if the opportunity's there and I'm already training strength and that kind of stuff, give it a shot. So I started doing 1 class a week on top of the powerlifting, and then I was doing.
What kind of stuff do you do in class?
So strongman is very multidisciplined. The whole purpose behind strongman essentially is functional strength. So you have anywhere from a conventional squat or a deadlift to picking up a giant rock and putting it on your shoulder, and so it's all over the place. There's no regular kind of a day in terms of strongman. So what you kind of end up doing is you start just structuring your training so that you're working some sort of deadlift type motion, some in the run of a week, some sort of type overhead pressing motion, and then you're doing other events and that kind of stuff. But literally you could be doing anything from. We've had contests where we've had to we've attached a rope to a truck, and we've had to pull the truck across a parking lot. We had a contest a couple of years ago that I was organizing and reffing, where we had people pull a dump truck across the parking lot.
Wow,
which was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, we had multiple people that pulled the dump truck 50, 60 feet.
Wow.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Did you see those guys with the big rope fighting that tiger? That tiger was in a cage on one side of the rope.
Yeah,
and there's 8 guys trying to pull the other one.
Crazy. Yeah. So it's a very varied, multidisciplinary kind of a thing.
Nice.
And it's one of those sports that a lot of strength athletes from other disciplines get into because there's carryover from pretty much every kind of strength sport.
Yeah.
There's aspects of powerlifting, aspects of Olympic lifting, aspects of CrossFit, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's been a fun experience to sort of get into that, and it's a different approach to fitness and strength, I guess.
Yeah.
It gives my mom a lot of anxiety.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it stresses her out a lot. And
she should to see you lift the heavy things, or
yeah, she's not stoked on it. Yeah, I've put up a few videos where I was trying to press a 110-pound dumbbell once early on. And I dropped it on my head.
I
just had it halfway up over my head, and then it just came down, and I almost went down. I didn't go down, but I almost went down. and shouldn't have put that video online.
Yeah. That's a problem.
I think the problem is often when things like this happen, I don't tell my parents about it.
Yeah.
And they seem to find out about them after the fact, regardless.
Yeah.
Like a couple of years ago, this is a complete aside, but a couple of years ago, my buddy Rowan, who plays in Rugged Shores with me, he's a great fiddle player. He and I recovered some stolen goods for a local musician. Unknowingly to us, we were recovering stolen goods at the time. And it was an interesting. We ended up in a house that we shouldn't have been in a part of town that we shouldn't have been in, and it's good that we got out of there with ourselves intact. And I obviously didn't tell my parents about this,
of course,
but they found out because Rowan got interviewed on CBC about it. After.
Oh yeah,
and he was like, "Yeah, I was there with my friend," and I get a call. I was like, "Were you the friend?" Like, yeah, I definitely was. It's like there's a 50-50 chance it was me, and it was definitely me.
That's amazing. I only got it on a small screen. Have you passed the first level yet?
I have not.
Excellent. I love it. Excellent.
Yeah, I'm still not entirely sure what my objective is, I'll be honest. I'm just having fun.
All right, excellent. All right, well, here we are. We're going to playing some Earthworm Jim. He hasn't beaten the first level yet, but we got a lot of time to go here, so I'm confident he can overcome it.
I'm glad you are.
Now, Ethan, what sort of toys did you play with as a child?
I was a big action figure kind of, so I had like pretty much every iteration of Batman that existed.
Yeah.
I had a lot of.
What was your Batman like?
Like in terms of like actors who played Batman?
Yeah, I guess Batman the animated series, was that around?
So yeah, the 90s animated series was big for me. That one was huge.
Yeah.
I've always been, in terms of like people who've portrayed Batman, I've always been a big fan of, voice actor wise, I've always been a big fan of Kevin Conroy. I mean, he's just such a classic.
Yeah.
I grew up, like Michael Keaton was, I want to say at least one of them came out, and I saw it. I think the second one came out, and I saw it in theaters. So I always kind of dug Keaton because he was like my first experience with Batman. And I was just a huge Val Kilmer fan in general.
Yeah.
So even though Kilmer, I don't think Kilmer was a great Batman, but I think he was. I just liked.
Yeah, I don't think he was a great Batman or a great Bruce Wayne, but I enjoyed his performance.
I enjoyed either, regardless. Just because I enjoyed him.
Yeah.
The Clooney could have been a really good Bruce Wayne.
That movie's
so
real something.
It's so bad. It's so bad that it's good in ways. But
there's a lot of excellent podcasts about that movie.
Oh man, because like, it just has so many crazy layers.
The bat nipples.
Yeah. Why do we think Arnold Schwarzenegger was good for Mr.
Right.
Freeze?
We used to have the Schwarzenegger Mr. Freeze stuff on the soundboard.
Amazing.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, there's just so many crazy, and then like what they did to Bane in that movie is just criminal.
Oh, it's so bad.
They just turned him into nothing. Like this is literally the most menacing, one of the most menacing villains in the entire Batman pantheon.
And then they take, and this was after Nightfall too, when that movie came out.
Yeah.
And after they take his powers away, he's like the sound effect that's playing when he's on the ground is like a baby crying.
Yes. It's like, what is this? Is foolishness. Like he's an evil genius.
Yeah, it's really something.
Yeah. It's that's a good one.
What other toys did you have as a kid?
I was big into I loved like anything that like Transformers and that kind of stuff, anything that kind of turned into something else.
Yeah.
So Transformers. I had the creepy crawly oven.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You bake your own like little
bake your own little insects and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I loved that. Again, that was much to my mother's chagrin because I just would leave little gummy bugs everywhere.
Yeah.
And freak people out.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, I was a big reader as a kid too.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of reading, and I was outside a lot. My favorite. It wasn't a toy, but my favorite thing when I got into my teens to play around with was a bow and arrow.
Oh yeah.
So I had a little bow and arrow with field tips and that kind of stuff, and would kind of go around shooting targets and shooting at whatever I could find in around the bay, which is a lot.
Oh yeah.
Hit the house a few times.
Yeah, my friend Mark, his dad, we used to call him Rambo.
Nice.
Because he was like a hunter. He used to like hunt bear with bow and arrow and stuff like that. And he had this is like in the late 80s, early 90s, he had a room in the basement that had a button number combination lock on the door, and it's like where all his bows and guns and stuff were. It was like, we thought it was super cool.
That's epic.
But anyway, my buddy had like bow and arrows and whips and stuff, and a couple times he shot a crossbow and like right by my head.
Nice.
Terrifying.
My brother did shoot our house with a bow and arrow.
Your parents must love that, right? Deciding.
Weren't stoked about it. The house survived.
Yeah.
The house made it.
That's good.
It was touch and go there for
Yeah.
him. He made it. But yeah, that was a weird thing to have given a child, I think. But we also just where there was so much vast space. So like where we grew up we grew up on the Barrens before. We grew up on the Bay de Verde Barrens. So for anyone who's never been out that way, there's like a road that leads from Old Perlican to Bay de Verde, and there's like 5 houses on that road after like a 10-minute drive around nothing, effectively. Like the Bay de Verde Barrens is nothing.
It's exactly what it says it is. It's the Bay de Verde Barrens.
It's barren. I was dating a girl in high school, and she came out to visit me, and she was like taking forever, and I get a call, and I get a call from the gas station in Old Perlican, from Gasland in Old Perlican, and she's like, yeah, so we were driving down this road, but there's no way anyone did that. I was like, no, you were about 5 minutes away from my house. Keep going. You'll eventually see houses.
It's definitely civilization.
Nobody should live there. Yeah, I used to tell people I grew up in the end of nowhere.
It's amazing. It is really the end of nowhere.
Yeah. So we had a huge amount of space in the front yard, and then directly across the street from us was my mom's parents, the house she grew up in. So I had a golf, like a driver, and a bunch of golf balls, and I would just drive golf balls over my grandfather's front yard. I'd walk over, and then I'd drive them back into my front yard.
Nice.
Yeah, we were a star of entertainment. Yeah, there's like 6 kids in the town, and there's nowhere to go. It's your star of entertainment.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
And we used to, like us probably, you'd go to Carboneer. It was like your big place to go. I was like going to town, going to Carboneer.
Yeah, you'd like Carboneer had the theater. Yeah. The one-room theater.
A&W at the mall.
Yep. And you'd get, if you were really, you go in the mall and grab a sliced pizza or something like that. But yeah, we were, the Carboneer Theater was great because it had such great date memories, like first date memories for me is Rambo 4. Took girl to see Rambo 4. That was fun.
Nice.
Yeah, she wasn't stoked.
Since Rambo 4, was it called Rambo? It was
just called Rambo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first like return movie, we'll say, after the third one.
Is that the one where he's like living on a farm and like the girl goes missing and he goes down to Mexico to get her?
No, I think that's Rambo 5. Rambo 4 is he's like over in Burma.
Oh yeah.
Or Myanmar, or well, same place, but he's over in Burma, and this like group of like humanitarian workers hire him as their boat driver, and then they get kidnapped.
Yes, of course, down the river. Yeah, that's right.
There's a scene in that movie where Stallone literally rips a guy's throat off, like he's choking the guy, then all of a sudden it just comes out, and it's like, that's not a thing.
It's John Rambo, come on.
Yeah, no, that did not breed romance.
The We Hate Movies podcast just did Rambo 2 or Rambo First Blood 2. On the podcast last week. It's pretty funny.
Oh man, the whole naming system for Rambo movies too. Like Rambo, it was First Blood Part 1, First Blood Part 2, then Rambo 3.
Yeah.
Okay, but we didn't technically have a Rambo 1 or 2. And then it's just Rambo. And then I think the 5th one's called John Rambo.
John Rambo, I think, yeah.
It's like...
So I thought it was called Rocky Balboa, and it's like, no, but there is a movie called Rocky Balboa.
There is a movie called Rocky Balboa, yeah. It'd be weird if the 5th Rambo was called Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, it would be weird.
Just like Stallone's really just phoning it in at this point. Like he wrote the screenplay forgetting that it was... It's just same as Rocky doing Rambo things.
He wrote the whole thing, the whole Rambo script, but then when he went to email, he wasn't thinking he put Rocky Balboa in the title, right?
Right.
They went right to print with it.
He's like, oh, here we are now.
Did you into comics when you were younger?
I was super into comics when I was younger. Yeah, I was big into, and still am into like I was really into the Marvel, like the cinematic universes, that kind of stuff for a while. Yeah. I've gotten kind of burnt out with it because there's so much material.
Yeah, it's gonna be make or break this summer with Fantastic Four.
It really is because it's been downhill for a lot of the stuff. Like Shang-Chi was pretty good.
Yep.
And I've tried to watch Eternals 3 times and I haven't been able.
I watched garbage, but I've watched Turtles a couple times. It has good points to it, but it's not a good movie.
Yeah, that's fair. And I felt the same way about Multiverse of Madness. I thought that there was moments that it was way overhyped for me.
I like Multiverse of Madness mostly because it's a Sam Raimi movie and it got all that weird Sam Raimi weird body stuff.
See, that stuff I enjoyed.
Yeah.
But there was just like it didn't feel coherent.
Yeah, and I think Fantastic Four is going to suffer from that as well.
I'm really
because they're going to try to shoehorn so much into it.
I think that's a big part of what they've been doing. They've have all these plans they've gone so far out with that they've lost the plot of just making good individual movies. They're trying to shoehorn too much stuff into into the products that they're putting out.
You look at with the comic, they're Secret Wars that they're in Battle World that they're pretty much going to do in the new movies. Those comics, Hickman built that up over like 10 years. It started with his Fantastic Four comics, like dropping little hints about it with the Sun with Franklin, and Doom like way back, and then the incursions being kind of talked about a tiny bit in the background and stuff, and then he had like a 2.5 year run on Avengers and New Avengers to build up to Secret Wars.
Yeah, there's so many layers to it. It's such a multifaceted story, and to try to tie it all together in a couple movies is just
tough.
Like, and especially when it's not the story that you've been telling all along.
Yeah.
And like it's so, because like I felt like we had a really good lead up to Endgame and to Infinity War. Like that was really well done, and like the payoff was awesome.
Yeah, those movies are awesome.
Infinity War, I like Infinity War more than Endgame, but they were both.
I love them both.
Good.
Yeah.
They're so good, but I feel like they needed to take time. I know you can't these days because everybody's so myopic, and nobody cares about I shouldn't say nobody cares about long-term storytelling, but mass audiences don't care about long-term storytelling the same way.
It's not profitable.
And that's the thing. So they have to just keep pumping stuff out. But man, oh man, if that wasn't the case and you could spend some time and actually tell some stories, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Because like there's so many how many rehashes of characters have we had now where we keep having to learn their origin story? I swear to God, if we see another Green Lantern origin story,
I know, right? At least they're using an interesting Green Lantern. 100%.
Like we're getting multiple Green Lanterns, and like I'm stoked to see Fillion as in that role. That's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be weird to see Kyle Chandler in a Marvel or in a DC movie.
Yeah.
But I think he is gonna be a solid Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
So Green Lantern's my favorite comic book.
Yeah.
So I feel very strongly about Green Lantern.
I was a big Lantern Corps, and when Green Lantern, Lantern Corps when Jeff Johns was writing it, like in the mid 2000s, maybe.
It's great.
I was big into it then.
Oh man, it's great. And there's been some really great animated depictions, film wise, like the Emerald Knights with Fillion as Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And we just have not seen a good live action as of yet. So I'm really holding out.
I never ever saw the Ryan Reynolds one.
It had no potential.
Yeah.
I can't even say it had potential. There was nothing. Like it had Ryan Reynolds. That's all it had. And like Reynolds was great as Hal Jordan, but like you couldn't take him seriously in the suit because the CGI was so bad.
Yeah.
And it was just there were so many problems.
Who's the bad guy? Was Sinestro the bad guy in it?
No, so they set up for Sinestro to be the bad guy in the finale in the sequel.
Sequel, yeah.
Because Sinestro is still a Lantern. He's still a Green Lantern.
He's still a Lantern in
this
that,
one.
yeah.
And he like taps into the Fear Force at the very end. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen this horrible movie. But I think they tease. Oh my God, I'm drawing blanks on names now. But there's the guy with the huge head. He's like Brainiac. So there's that, and then they tease.
I think is Brainiac the villain in the new Superman movie coming out?
I believe he is. It's not Brainiac. Sorry, it's not. It'll come to me eventually. But anyway, yeah. So it's like this. The main villain is a cloud in space that has no form whatsoever. That's meant to be.
In Green Lantern, you mean?
Yeah, it's meant to be. Who's DC's? This is killing me. Who's DC's version of Galactus? DC's version of. Like the giant world eater type thing. That's
not coming to me right now.
It's not coming to me either. But that's who the main villain's supposed to be. But he's just depicted as a cloud in space. and so like the guy who plays the mad scientist who becomes the villain, whose again name is killing me that I can't remember. I can't get past this dog. I keep whipping it with. Oh, finally! I've died here every time.
Oh, right. We're through the looking glass.
We are. Sorry, I had to lock in for a minute there. That was another one.
Maybe it was this one that was killing you.
I only just realized I could whip my hair back and forth too.
Oh, that's gonna help.
Look at me.
Is that your hair, or are you like a worm? Is that your worm?
That's my worm. Just my tail.
That's your tail. Yeah.
Well, it's hard to call it the tail because it's at my head, but it is a tail.
Now, if you cut Earthworm Jim in two, would both halves just like grow a new other half?
If you end up with a second Earthworm Jim, yeah. Like, could that be something you could have done as a defense mechanism?
I wonder. I'm sure they must have addressed that at one point or another.
We're talking about a kid's show in the 90s.
I guess.
It's highly doubtful that
I've been watching, I've seen a couple episodes of it before, but I never watched the whole thing, and I watched like 6 seasons of it the other night of Zach, was from Saved by the Bell, Zach Morris. Zach Morris is Trash. It's a Funny or Die show, and
really?
they take an episode of Saved by the Bell and talk about all the bad stuff Zach Morris did in it.
Really?
And then sum it up at the end. It's like 7 or 8 minutes each episode. It's really funny. And like he is real trash. He's a real
If you
jerk.
like, he's not a good person.
He's not a good
show
person
at all.
It's horrible. Everything
Yeah.
he does is bad and self-centered. And
Yeah,
that's funny. Check it out.
I'll check that out. Yeah.
How about music? What kind of music did you listen to as a kid?
I was raised very much musically by my father and my grandfather. So my mother's father, who lived across the street from us. So I was raised on a steady diet on if I spent any time across the street, which I did spend a lot of time over there, outlaw country and Irish music.
Yeah.
And then my father was super into like current country music, so 90s country. And
Like who would that be? Like Travis Tritt, that kind of stuff? Or?
like more Toby Keith, Alan Jackson,
Yeah,
that kind of
yeah.
stuff. And he was always like big into good songwriters like John Prine and Jim Croce and
Yeah.
things like that, and like Bob Dylan and that kind of stuff. But he was like a huge classic rock guy too. Like Dad loves AC/DC and that kind of stuff. And so I was raised on a lot of that. Like when I was a kid, I had I'm old enough to have had a cassette Walkman. Mm-hmm. And so I had the cassette Walkman, and Dad made me a tape that had like Neil Young and Bob Dylan and a bunch of AC/DC and all kinds of like just random classic rock from time, like Midnight Oil and all,
Amazing.
just, like all kinds of stuff. And so that was pretty much growing up until I was probably 12 or 13, and then 12, 13 I got into heavy metal. And I was like really into like new wave British heavy metal and that kind of stuff. So I was listening to like a lot of Iron Maiden
Yeah.
and Motorhead was
Yeah.
still huge.
Love me some Motorhead.
and Judas Priest and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was listening to like a lot of thrash, so Pantera.
No, you're not allowed to say the M word on this podcast. Sorry. The M word, you're not allowed to say it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna have to beef it out.
Yeah, fair enough. I had to listen to a collection of millionaires complain about their lives. I was really into them until some kind of monster documentary.
Yeah.
And that killed every illusion I had about
the
that band.
Napster Wars.
Oh man, it was
I was
just-
around for all that.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. What a horrible group of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of that was the Offspring.
Yeah.
Who were super awesome.
Super awesome. And like the more you learn about them, the more awesome they
Yeah,
are.
right?
You know what I mean? Like there's like
They're smart.
he's got a PhD
Yeah.
in chemical engineering
Yeah,
or something like that. That's
right.
like Keep 'em Separated was all about isotopes or something like that.
They're super smart.
Yeah.
And super cool, like respectful guys. And then they were like one of the first bands that sold their whole catalog for like hundreds of millions of dollars.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. I listened to them when I was growing up too.
Yeah, their album actually came out in 1994. Smash, the big album.
Wild.
Yeah,
Nice.
same year as Game came out.
Cool. So yeah, so that was big, and then from there I somehow got really into German power metal for a while,
Oh, yeah,
like
like
European power metal. So I was listening to like Ed Guy and Halloween. I listened to a lot of Manowar,
Yeah.
which I'm not proud of. Not proud of. The funny actually, the band that we will not name. I was watching a German interview on YouTube back when I was 15 because my life again was very full even then. I was watching a German interview with the band Manowar. And they were asked if they listened to heavy metal, and they were, "Do you listen to this particular band?" They said, "No, we don't listen to country music."
Amazing.
It's great. Yeah.
My cousin was like 6 years older than me. And he had a bunch of tapes, of course. He was a big
Yeah.
Iron Maiden guy. His room was full of Iron Maiden posters. I was terrified of it when I was a
Nice.
child. All the pictures of Eddie, like in the
Oh, yeah.
cockpit and coming out of the grave.
Good
and-
old Darling Edward. Yeah.
And so I've had some of his tapes. So I had like lots of like Ministry
Nice.
and like Nine Inch Nails.
Sick.
And Jane's Addiction and like
I listened to a lot of. I still do. I listen to a lot of like 90s alt rock, like Jim Blossoms and that kind of
yeah.
stuff.
Did you see that thing with Jim Blossoms and
Blues Traveler.
Blues Traveler?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. I love my buddy Justin and I joke about Blues Traveler all the time and joke about me owning a tactical harmonica vest.
Yeah.
Because he wears like a tactical, like John Popper wears a tactical vest in every pocket.
On that show, I noticed he had a big briefcase on a table next to him full of harmonicas.
And that's all his harmonicas, but he used to just have them in a vest, and he'd haul them out of his vest like a soldier with like grenades.
Amazing.
Like that. I was like, what do you need that for?
Do you play harmonica?
I a bit, yeah. No, I always say there's two kinds of harmonica players. Rowan says I put the harm in harmonica, which is great. But I always say there's two kinds. There's harmonica players like John Popper who know how to play harmonica. They can bend. They're playing. They're holding their harmonica.
pretty
They're
good.
playing. And then there's people who know how to blow air in and out of their mouths.
Yeah.
And can pick up a pattern here and there.
Yeah.
And I can blow air in and out.
What'd you say
of my mouth.
Bob Dylan is? So what's that?
Bob Dylan can blow air in and out of his mouth
Yeah.
and kind of pick up patterns. I love Bob Dylan.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's funny, actually, right before I got here, I sent Kieran, the lead guitar player from Midnight Watch, sent him a meme that said, the meme was guy who's heard 10 Bob Dylan songs. Oh, this guy sucks. Guy who's heard 100 Bob Dylan songs. This is the greatest songwriter of all time. Guy who's heard 600 Bob Dylan songs. Oh, this guy sucks. And yeah, he's not wrong. But yeah, but I would classify Bob Dylan is like at the probably the upper echelons of being able to blow air in and out, but he's able to blow air in and out. to some success.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How about concerts? You seen any concerts when you were a kid?
I'm trying to. I'm trying to rack my brain now. I think the first concert I saw was the Teddy Bear Picnic.
Yeah.
So Terry Riley in the park. So many Newfoundland kids that I think the first concert they saw was the Teddy Bear Picnic.
Could possibly be the first one I saw. I don't really remember, but quite possibly.
Likely.
Yeah.
Which is cool because I did a couple of years back. I did a songwriter circle at the Levee called Poets and Pickers, where we essentially the concept was you came with a song prepared based on a topic picked for you the week before. So you did 3 songs you've done that you had whatever kind of thing in your catalog, and then you had to write a song based on a random topic for that night, which is cool.
Yeah.
Well, I got to do that with Terry Riley, which was cool. He was one of the participants. So I was like, oh, this is wild. Like I listened to your music as a child. This is insane.
He must be a nice guy.
Super nice guy, and has a lot of really great crazies. Performed with a bunch of big old Muddy Waters and old blues guys when he was in Ottawa. He's had a crazy musical career beyond just the kids' music side of things. It was cool.
Amazing.
Cool to kind of get to know somebody like that. But yeah, so I think that was probably the first concert I really remember going to. I went to see with my dad in high school. We went to see In Excess after the Rockstar show. So when JD Fortune had taken over as the singer for In Excess after the reality show and that kind of stuff, which was crazy. The late show, the concert.
Where was that?
That was at Mile 1.
At Mile 1, yeah.
So I think that was the first, and then shortly after that, my dad and I went to see Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Again at Mile 1, and that was very disappointing.
Yeah, we saw Bob Dylan in 96 or 97 maybe at the Dominion at the stadium.
Oh yeah.
And it was really disappointing. It was like one of those Duracell robots. They wheeled him out on stage, and he just stood there and sang his songs, 10 of them, and then they wheeled him off.
Did he play guitar?
I think he played guitar. Yeah.
He didn't play guitar the entire time. Apparently, he couldn't find an organ player he liked for that particular tour, so he was playing organ that whole tour.
Oh, nice.
Because you want to go see Bob
Dylan. Yeah, known for his organ.
Yeah, he did not look at the crowd the entire time.
Yeah, he didn't say a word to the crowd when we saw him play.
He introduced the band at one point, and it was just like, hey, I'm on the saxophone. Yeah. That was it. It's like, okay, I have no idea what any of those guys' names are. That guy's name is Hank.
We were standing there talking at one point, and I was like, oh, hey, Bob Dylan's playing over there.
It's like I vaguely heard Bob Dylan in the background. And Dad was a huge Bob Dylan fan as well. My father still talks about how disappointed he was by that concert.
Well, sometimes a bad concert is as much to talk about as a good concert.
Well, we've gotten a lot of stories out of it. I will say that story, because of that concert, my father and I have a story of this man. I was I think 15 or 16, and my father and I were sat behind this gentleman who was wearing the loudest shirt I've ever seen in my life. Up to that point, I've seen louder now as a musician, but he was wearing this dog has got my number. I still have not made it out of the first level.
That's amazing.
I'm getting killed here, man.
You got to keep trying. You got 15 minutes left, so.
Perfect. Excellent. But so this guy sat ahead of us. He's got a Hawaiian shirt on. The Hawaiian shirt has just a collection of patches, and each patch is a different kind of Mexican beer. So it's 17 different colors, and it's covered in, the whole shirt is beers. The guy was double fisting beers the whole night from go. Before the concert started, he was 6 beers deep before the.
They gotta be $11 each, those beers.
100%. Yeah, he was 6 or 7 deep before the show even started, and he was talking to my father. My father and I both have the same affliction where people just talk to us. And so we end up in these just nothing conversations all the time, which is fun. I like talking to people. I like to talk. I like to chat. I like to get to know people. It drives my wife crazy because she's nowhere near as social as I am.
Yeah.
She's like, how do you take the time to do this? And trying to go anywhere, in fairness, is difficult because I have to talk to 27 people.
And you know everybody too, right?
That's the thing. I've been in so many organizations, that kind of stuff. So anyway, this guy's talking to me and my dad. And he's telling us about how he's been following Bob Dylan on tour for 5 years. This was his 85th Bob Dylan show. And he's like, I'm obsessed with Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan's my life. And he's talking. And then he sang. He tried to sing along to every song, despite the fact that Dylan played none of the songs as they were recorded at all. There were some songs like he played "Just Like a Woman," and we were like I think about 2 minutes into the song before I realized it was just like a woman. Like it was just. And at the end of every song, this guy stood up and raised both of his beers in the sky and went, "Thank you, Bobby!" And I genuinely thought by the end of the concert, my dad was going to leave him. There's like, this guy's ending. Like, he's not a violent man. But this guy's done. Like, we found the line. Yeah, thank you, Bobby. After it was like, dude, give it a rest.
He goes from town to town, ruining everyone's experience.
Pretty much, yeah. Like I think he's as big a part of the reason why my father didn't enjoy the concert as Bob Dylan's actual performance was.
Yeah.
I think that guy really did a number on the whole experience.
Yeah, that's a big difference, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was just loud the whole time, right? And Dylan didn't care.
Yeah, Dylan. I can't hear you. What are you talking about?
Even if Bob could hear him, he wouldn't care. He's Bob Dylan. He doesn't want to be thanked. He wants people to be mad about us.
He did some good music, though. I'll give him that much.
Oh, 100%. The guy can write a song.
And he's a traveling Wilbury, too. I can't hold that against him, I guess.
Love a Wilbury.
Let's look at some lists of the year that this game came out, 1994. Top 5 grossing movies. Let me know if you've seen these movies. I go through them.
Sure.
Number 5. I was surprised about this one. Actually, number 5 at 130.5 million. The Flintstones.
Really?
Yeah.
I have seen that.
Yeah. And when you hear some of these other movies on this list, you're going to think, wow, The Flintstones. Number 5. Number 4, The Santa Claus.
Cool.
Made a lot of money.
Classic. I watch every Christmas.
James Cameron's True Lies comes in at number 3 with 146 million. Love that movie.
Brilliant movie.
Watched it recently.
Oh, man,
they did those
so
in
good.
4K, but the AI did the upscaling. They look horrible. Horrible. There's some points where they move their head, you can almost see like their skin moving because the AI is like making frames.
There's no need for that.
Oh, it's bad.
The movie looked great.
One of the Alien movies too, they redid in 4K and the AI did it. It looks horrible. Just horrible.
They were groundbreakingly visual for their time. Just leave them.
Find yourself, if you're like me, I like to find myself a nice open matte version or like the full screen version from a 90s DVD.
Yep.
And put that on my TV now. It looks like an IMAX almost on the TV screen.
It's great. It looks like an IMAX if the IMAX was super grainy.
Yeah, super grainy. Yeah. My eyes are super grainy anyways.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, perfect.
Number 2, The Lion King, $312 million.
Classic.
Did very well. I don't think I probably saw Santa Claus in theater, I would think. I probably saw True Lies in theater, I would think.
I would think we probably saw Santa Claus. I was 4 in '94. I think we probably saw. My brother had just been born, so we might have seen Santa Claus, but it would have been like probably with friends or something.
Yeah.
In Carpenter.
And then in Carpenter.
So it would have been after Christmas. It's like probably February.
Sounds about right. The number 1 movie of 1994, Forrest Gump.
Oh, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Have you watched it recently?
It's been probably a year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I watch it every couple of years.
I liked it a lot more when I went in the 90s than I do now.
That's fair. It like there's parts of it that don't hold up, but it's still it's one of those stories that still has something for everybody.
I was telling people about that soundtrack the other day. I'm in control of the music at my work, so I play a lot of like classic rock that everyone can listen to. So I put on the Forrest Gump soundtrack, and I was thinking back to when I had that tape. It was a double tape, 2 cassettes.
Yep.
And a lot of those songs, that's the first place I heard those songs.
It was a great soundtrack too.
And Good Morning Vietnam, I had that on tape. Columbia House sent me so many tapes because I didn't send my forms back, and they sent me the tapes. And that was one of those tapes I never would have bought.
Yeah.
And I ended up with it in Old Perlican in Newfoundland.
Yeah.
And it had all these great classic rock, sounding classic rock, like 50s rock on it. 50s and 60s rock.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in that particular soundtrack.
I could do that. Good Morning Vietnam. His parts in between the whole way through.
Brilliant. No wonder you got into media.
Right? I grew up on the TV raised me.
Yeah. I grew up telling people at 15 that my favorite songwriter was Bob Dylan. No wonder I ended up the way that I. No wonder I ended up a depressed songwriter.
When I was like 12, maybe, someone called me on my house phone in the kitchen and told me I put up tape in your mailbox. And I went up and grabbed it, and it was Pearl Jam's 10 dubbed off on a tape. I'd never heard of them.
Great album.
And became a huge fan. Now I've seen them like 5 times. I saw Eddie Vedder play solo during the Into the Wild tour.
Man, I bet that was great.
Pretty nice.
They're one of those bands. So my wife's work bestie is her husband is trying to manifest Pearl Jam playing somewhere in like Montreal or something like that this year, so we can all go see them.
Yeah.
And that's just like he had it because he had a dream that we would do that. And I was like, I'm really hoping that comes true because I thought it was great.
We saw that show over there with Mudhoney. It was an amazing show.
Oh, I bet that was great.
Yeah, love Mudhoney.
Yeah.
How about music from 1994? Boy, did we like sappy music back then.
We sure did.
We got number 5, we got Hero by Mariah Carey.
Oh.
Number 4, The Power of Love, but unfortunately it's not Huey Lewis in the News.
No.
It's Celine Dion.
Yeah.
I'll Make Love to You, Boys to Men at number 3. All for One with I Swear at number 2. I heard that on Oz FM quite a bit in the 90s.
I think they're still playing it in FM now they've gone back to the old format.
Yeah. And of course, number 1, The Sign by Ace of Base. Or as my mom used to sing in the kitchen, I saw the light. It opened up. Yeah. Excellent.
Unreal.
Albums, we see a bit, we don't see that much better. Celine Dion at number 5. Bon Jovi with Crossroad at number 4.
Interesting.
What was the hit off Crossroad, you know?
Crossroad was...
Bed of Roses?
I think Bed of Roses would have been... And... Yeah, I think Bed of Roses, yeah.
That was in Steel Magnolias, was that from that movie, maybe?
Wasn't it? Yeah. I listened to a lot of Bon Jovi when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
But I have not listened. Before I got into thrash, I went through a brief hair and glam metal phase.
Nice.
And then realized that there was better music.
Yeah.
But vocally, because I'm metal is weird for me because I was super into a lot of the new wave of British heavy metal and thrash and that kind of stuff. But I'm a lyrics guy.
Yeah.
So I'm not a scream guy at all.
Yeah.
There's a couple of bands that have more aggressive vocals that I can get into, but for the most part, it's if I can't hear the lyrics, I don't care.
I'm a lyrics guy too. Yeah.
And so that's I link into that. So there was a lot of those bands that so there was a few of them that I really enjoyed. But yeah. I'm still can't get past this dog.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're not going to make you try to beat that dog much longer here, so let's take a look at, you got Midnight Watch now. You've been here and you played a couple Midnight Watches songs for us in the past.
Yeah.
You guys had your first album came out, was just last year now, right?
A little over a year ago. It was a year in May.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's been a year now, which has been awesome. It's been a great...
Ghost Hours, is that right?
Ghost Hours, yeah. It's been a super fun experience bringing that record out with these guys. I've had a couple bands over the years, and a band was in before, the Beautiful Rex. It's kind of similar to this sort of format. This is one of my favorite, in terms of the original music side of things, one of my favorite musical projects I've ever been part of. We've had a lot of fun putting that record out, and we've had even more fun because we've been talking about the second record since well before the first record.
I think when you were on the show last year talking about the first album, then you were talking about the second album.
So we finally, last night actually, we finished off all the guide tracks for the second record.
Oh, nice.
So the second record, so we've got all the guide tracks, and now we'll start tracking bass and drums the weekend, and we're hoping to have a single out for the summer, and then we'll say probably early to late fall for the second record.
Where do you do your recording?
So our guitar player Kieran is a recording engineer, and he's got a full studio set up in his basement.
Nice. Mm-hmm. We had one of your bandmates on the show there.
You had Liam,
We had Liam on the show. Yeah, he did excellent. His music's excellent.
Liam's great. And
really enjoyed his performance. I got that on my phone. I listen to it all the time.
He's such a great songwriter, super talented dude. He's got a couple songs he's written for the band that are going to be, they're absolute bangers. I'm excited for people to hear the recorded versions of them. They're going over really well live. But
Devil in the Driveway is a real bomb too. I think I love it.
Brilliant tune. He's such an asset to have in a band too, because he's a musical genius. Like Liam just. He understands music in a way that the other three, the rest of us, we just don't. It's crazy what he knows and what he can do. He's got a crazy ear for arrangement. He's an amazing writer. He can tell you pretty much what note you're singing, as you're singing it kind of thing. And then he's also a fantastic visual artist and graphic designer.
Amazing.
So he does all of our artwork. So our album art was actually a multimedia painting he did.
Oh, really?
That he scanned.
Amazing.
So the owl if you look closely on the front of the Midnight Watch Ghost Hours, there's an owl in flight. If you look closely...
We'll put it on the screen here.
Yeah, so if you look closely at the lines in the owl, they're actually the lyrics to Ghost Hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he on newspaper and a bunch of other different forms of media, put it all together, then scanned it into what became our album cover.
Amazing. One thing I noticed about when he was playing is that he looked like he was having so much fun performing.
100%.
Right? And that makes me feel like I'm having so much fun.
It's great. I love watching... One of my favorite things to do is to watch Liam record vocals, because he's dancing while he's doing it.
Yeah, he was kind of smiling when he's singing over there.
Moving around. That guy he feels music. Again, he's got this he's into music and attuned to music in a way that I don't think other people can really understand. It's impressive. It's crazy to be in town.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you play around town all the time. Where you been playing?
Pretty flat out. So I've myself and Rowan are just finishing up a residency at Shamrock City on this Wednesday coming. So we've been every Wednesday 10 to 1 there at Shamrock. We Rugged Shores as a trio is starting up next week at O'Reilly's every Thursday. We had the same time slot last summer. The late slot at O'Reilly's as a trio. Rugged Shores. So my other band, Rugged Shores, I play in a trad Celtic kind of a band. We do a lot of original music as well, kind of thing. But we do the scene. We'll say the Shamrock, O'Reilly's, Varieties, that kind of thing.
Yeah, must be fun.
Yeah. Oh, it's a lot of fun. It's cool.
I know my mom loves going to this place. You must get like a lot of older people like enjoying that kind of stuff. Eh?
You do, yeah, and you get an interesting mix in terms of like older people, younger people, tourists, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You get people that know a lot about Irish music. You get people that know nothing about Irish music. Yeah. And we're a pretty diverse band. We play a lot. We do like a lot of country, and we throw in rock and all kinds of stuff. Like we do Breakfast at Tiffany's. You know what I mean? Like we're with the bouzouki. It's a lot.
Do you kind of judge the crowd of what you play, or do you have a set list of what you're playing?
We have a set list, but we've been together now as a band. I've been with Rugged Shores now for 7 years, and we've been together in this lineup since like early COVID when we started recording the album and that kind of thing. So we've got a pretty diverse catalog, and we've all been in a bunch of different kind of bands before. Like Rowan's first band was he played bass in a metal band. Now he plays fiddle with us, and then like
amazing.
And we've all played in like different genres, different kind of bands. So there's a lot that we can all draw on in our catalog. So we try to vary it up, but you gauge the audience and you see like if you play a couple hours. What I like to do, especially for solo sets, is I'll throw a couple of different genres out early. And whatever people seem to respond to the most is how I'll skew this. And then if the room turns, I'll do the same thing. If you have more people come in, I'll throw out a few more things, and people start to ask for stuff. Then you gauge the room, you go from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like anything. It's like it's sales essentially.
Yeah, right.
Trying to,
That's funny. I never thought about that, but it is sales, isn't it?
It's kind of sales, and it's also kind of like playing the man in basketball. It's like playing defense too. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we've got a lot going on there. Personally, for me, I've got a real busy summer coming up. I've got a bunch of corporate stuff. I do a lot of work with McCarthy's Party, the tour company. I used to work with them as an operations vendor.
Yeah.
Still do a fair bit of entertainment for them.
Nice. Like what kind of stuff? Like what do you do?
A lot of like trade shows and corporate stuff and that kind of thing. So they do what they call the Rally in the Alley, which is like a big pub crawl. So they have corporate like convention groups and that kind of stuff that'll apply, and they have bars set up where at each bar is a different station. So they bring them, they get screeched in, then they have to do a sing song where they learn how to sing a couple Newfoundland songs, and they do like Irish step dancing, and then there's a big party at the end. Yeah. And so I do a lot of the sing songs and the screech-ins for that and that kind of thing. Nice. It's fun. It's like it's a cool way to share the culture with people that wouldn't normally be
people
around.
Enjoy it, I'm sure.
100%. Yeah. It's a fun it's a cool little piece for especially for a conference group and that kind of thing too. You know what I mean? Like it's a different kind of a way to see the city and that sort of thing.
It's easy to be a crusty old Newfoundlander and think people coming here doing that ridiculous stuff, but I know they love it. I know they enjoy it.
It's fun, and like again, it's like anything. It's people complain about having to play songs like Wagon Wheel and that kind of stuff, and I do the same thing. But like when you see people's response to it, you're like, well,
it's so funny. You know, I never really knew the song Wagon Wheel, and then I got into Old Crow like 15, 20 years ago.
Great band.
And I had a friend who was into it. I saw him a couple times. Like I love Old Crow, really into him. And then it came up one night I was talking to, of course, my co-host on the Hulk Caesar show, Emily Malloy.
Yes.
And I brought up it, and she's like, Wagon Wheel. I was like, how many times has someone asked you to play Wagon Wheel? And I was like, really? She's like, yeah. She's like, you should start asking people how many times they've had to play Wagon Wheel. And like everybody I've asked, you're like, oh, Wagon Wheel.
My record in a show is 5. I've done it 5 times in one night.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just because people get like, it's like, well, we already played. It's like, well, we weren't here. It's like.
Is that an Old Crow song, or is it?
So it's funny, actually. There's a whole Wagon Wheel is 100 years old.
Yeah, I thought maybe it was like a traditional song.
It isn't.
It isn't?
The chorus was.
Okay.
So Ketch, the original lead singer for Old Crow, heard a Bob Dylan song where he was saying "Rock Me Mama Like a Wagon Wheel," and then he heard the chorus, wrote lyrics to it, and then needed to get the permission from it. So he went out, he reached out to Bob Dylan's people, got the permission, and then they were like, but we'll give you permission to use it, but it's not our song. And we're like, okay. So then they gave him the name of this old blues guy, and the old blues guy. So he tracked down the blues guy. And he was like, okay. And then he was like, yeah, you can use it, but it's not my song. And so then they found this other folk artist. So it goes. I think the chorus of the song goes back about 100 years.
Wow.
and multiple writers, multiple iterations, multiple versions. So it's one of those songs that just kind of became part of the folk zeitgeist.
They must have worked themselves all the way back to the point where it was public domain. They didn't pay anybody.
Like, kind of effectively, yes. Like, so they got to the point where it's like, oh, we don't need permission. It's like we thought we were going to have to beg Bob Dylan for permission. He didn't even write it.
It's amazing.
But it's funny. I only just learned that. I've been telling people it was a Bob Dylan song for ages because that was the story that I'd heard, that it was a chorus from an unreleased Bob Dylan song. And then Ketch wrote the verse lyrics. So Old Crow wrote the verse lyrics, but the chorus itself is about 100 years old.
Nice.
Yeah.
The Iceberg Alley is just down by my house, so I'm not going to go in, I don't think, but I'm going to sit by the fence when Old Crow plays.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Have you been to the Iceberg Alley? It's a good time. It's a really good time.
I'm not big on people and being inside places.
People aren't great.
Not great. I like them like this. I like one or two of them at a time in like a secure location.
Yeah, I like to be in control. It's fair. It's a spectacle. It's a lot of people packed into one spot under that tent.
All right, well, Evan, I got a feeling you're not going to pass this first level.
I definitely am not. Yeah, no, there's a 0% chance.
We had Ryan Wade on the show last time, and he played Turtles in Time, and he finished the game in an hour. What? He got to the point where we said he didn't finish it, and then when we reviewed the tapes afterwards, we realized that he had finished it, and the cutscene had come, and the ending had come when we weren't paying attention, and we thought he got killed, but he actually finished the game.
Unreal.
So,
well, I'm very embarrassed.
That's okay. We almost makes us feel better about ourselves when you don't finish the game, you know?
Well, in my defense, I was 4 when this came out. It was a much better video game.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's fun anyway talking about it and
100%,
having here on the show. I think next time, we're not confirmed of a date yet, but I believe Kelly McMichael will be joining us next time on the video game show here to play some Mario Brothers. She hasn't picked which Mario Brothers game yet, but
it's exciting.
So the Mario Brothers have been locked up because everyone wants to play the Mario Brothers. But when Kelly said she wanted to play the Mario Brothers, I was like, all right, I'll unlock the vault and give you a Mario Brothers game.
Unlock the vault for Kelly especially. Kelly's fantastic.
Awesome, Evan. Well, thanks for joining us, and I'm sure we'll have you back on the Hulk Caesar show again soon to play some tunes for us.
100%, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, buddy.
Great.